Morning, everybody. How are you all today? Good, good. We're very excited today here at the Diocese. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate everybody being here today. My name's Sally Oberski, and I am the Director of Communications for the Diocese of Toledo. We are here today for a very exciting announcement, and to make that announcement, it's my pleasure to introduce Father Charles Ritter, our Diocesan Administrator.
Again, a welcome and thanks to all of you for being here. Last December, when our former Bishop Leonard Blair assumed the office of the Archbishop of Hartford, Connecticut, the See of Toledo, the office of the local bishop, became vacant. For these past 8 months, we have been prayerfully waiting for a new bishop. And this morning, the Apostolic Nuncio to the United States, Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, has announced that the Holy Father, Pope Francis, has named Bishop Daniel E. Thomas, presently one of the auxiliary bishops of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, as the new bishop of the Diocese of Toledo. Bishop Thomas is a native son of Philadelphia, was ordained to the priesthood in 1985 and consecrated a bishop in the year 2006. His full curriculum vitae is in the press packets that you have. Without further comment, it is my joy and privilege to welcome him to Toledo and to introduce him to you, Bishop Daniel Thomas.
Praised be Jesus Christ. Good morning, Diocese of Toledo. What a great thrill and tremendous joy to greet you today for the first time as your new bishop. What a blessing now to call you my family of faith and to call Ohio my home. I warmly greet my brother priests, seminarians, deacons, consecrated men and women religious, and all the Catholic faithful in our 19 counties. I am so pleased to greet all of you gathered here at the Catholic Center, those of you who work for the Diocese of Toledo, and all those who are watching this streamed live, and all our friends of the media who are covering the press conference for us today. I am honored and humbled and excited to be your bishop. I express my profound gratitude to Pope Francis for his confidence and trust in appointing me the shepherd of the Lord's flock here in Northwest Ohio. Aware that I am not worthy of this office, I trust in God's holy will as it is expressed through the successor of Peter, and I trust in the grace and mercy of Jesus, the Good Shepherd. I'm most grateful for the tremendous kindness and encouragement of the Apostolic Nuncio, Archbishop Carlo Maria Vigano, and for the courageous episcopal ministry, witness, support of my own Archbishop, Charles Chaput, and of the whole Archdiocese of Philadelphia, my beloved home, until today. It is both reassuring and encouraging to succeed such a fine prelate as Archbishop Leonard Blair, now of Hartford. I join you in thanking Archbishop Blair for the steadfast, dedicated, and generous ministry he exercised here for almost 10 years. It will be a privilege to be counted among the bishops of Ohio, together with the Metropolitan, Archbishop Dennis Schnurr. I join you as well in thanking Father Charles Ritter, the diocesan administrator who has guided the day-to-day work of this diocese during the time of transition. He has done so selflessly, prudently, and faithfully. We owe a great debt of gratitude to him, and I ask you to join me in thanking him. Please know that I've already been made to feel very welcome and at home here, and I'm so grateful for the hard work of Father Monty Hoyles, Monsignor William Kabacki, Sally Oberski, and everyone already laboring diligently on the installation team. I thank all those who were instrumental in the arrangements for today and who will be responsible for planning the events in days to come. So, I know you're wondering, just who is this bishop Pope Francis has sent to you? Well, the word's already out. Pope Francis has sent Toledo a new Danny Thomas. Now, since the bishop is the father of the family of faith in the diocese, I guess this is Pope Francis's way of saying to all of you, make room for Daddy. Now, for those of you under 50, you may not know that this rather popular actor grew up here and that was the name of his rather famous television show. Just who is this who is coming to you? Perhaps to paraphrase St. Maximilian Kolbe, on whose feast I learned I would be your bishop, I would simply respond, I am a Roman Catholic bishop. Just as for St. Maximilian, when he was asked, who are you? He said, I am a Roman Catholic priest. It was more important than announcing his name. So for me, simply stating, I am a Roman Catholic bishop, I think should say it all. What is important is not so much my name, but who I am for you, a father, brother, and friend. My dear mom would often say, there is no coincidence, only providence. Now, I'd like to share with you something that is, I think, not coincidental, but providential. In my office at the Pastoral Center in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia hangs a bronze bas-relief of the Crucifixion. It's in the style of Donatello. This moving piece of sacred art has a small plaque at the bottom, which indicates that it's been handed down over the years from one bishop to another. Here's what the plaque says. From Archbishop Joseph Schrems, to Archbishop Edward Hoban, to Archbishop John Kroll, to Archbishop John Foley. Now, make no mistake, I am not an archbishop. But it was given to me in December of 2011 by Cardinal John Foley shortly before he died. Archbishop Schrems, who is, of course, the very first bishop of Toledo, started handing on this piece of art, which is now in the possession of this successor, the 8th Bishop of Toledo. Archbishop Schrems ordained Cardinal Kroll a priest. Cardinal Kroll ordained me a priest. The piece of art originated in Ohio, made its way to Philadelphia, and now it's coming back home to Ohio. Some would say, this is a sign from God. Others might say, this is just too much. But I would say, it's a rather extraordinary symbol of the priestly and episcopal connection your new bishop has with his new diocese. There is no coincidence, only providence. Again, the date I learned of our Holy Father's appointment was August 14th, the memorial of Maximilian Kolbe, the Polish Franciscan priest who gave up his life for the father of a family in a Nazi death camp, and who had a strong devotion to Our Lady. Today, on this announcement date, August 26th, we celebrate Our Lady of Częstochowa, great patroness of Poland, for whom John Paul II had such a tender devotion. And how wonderful, then, that on the very date of the installation, October 22nd, we will celebrate the very first feast day of Pope John Paul II as a saint. There is no coincidence, only providence. I certainly look forward to getting to know all of you, to getting to know all of our rural, suburban, and urban parishes, all the institutions and ministries of the diocese. In fact, I'm very happy that today I'll be able to make several visits throughout the diocese. I look forward to my first meal at Tony Paco's. I look forward to my first Mud Hens game, to trying some of the treats at the Spangler Candy Company. I look forward to enjoying Lake Erie, my first time to the Opera, Symphony, and Museum of Art, to rooting for Ohio State, of course. and to figuring out how in the world to walk the tightrope between rooting for Toledo, Detroit, Cincinnati, or Cleveland teams. And I look forward to the day when someone, please God, might say, wow, that's a miracle. A Philadelphian became a Toledoan. Most of all, I look forward, as your new bishop, to preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, to celebrating the sacraments, especially the Most Holy Eucharist, to teaching, nurturing, and defending our Catholic faith, to leading and strengthening you, so that together we might be more vibrant and courageous disciples of Jesus the Lord. In so doing, it is my fervent hope and prayer that the weak and the vulnerable, the poor and the needy, indeed all of us, might experience more deeply the love and mercy of Christ. Con gran alegría saludo a todos los fieles hispanos de la diócesis y espero junto a ustedes proclamar el Evangelio de Jesucristo. Es una bendición estar aquí en Ohio como su nuevo obispo. Por favor, sepan que mi amor y mis oraciones están con ustedes y espero poder aprender español mucho mejor en el futuro. Today, I would be remiss if I did not mention and remember good Bishop Robert Donnelly, the retired auxiliary of Toledo, whose loss you mourned only 1 month ago, and Cardinal M. Menchoca, whose funeral mass will be celebrated in Detroit later this morning. May the merciful Lord grant them eternal rest and the reward of their labors. I beg your good prayers that I may be a faithful, humble, holy, and ardent bishop for Toledo, and that I might spend myself for love of souls in teaching, governing, and sanctifying in the name of Jesus for the sake of his church. Starting today, I entrust my episcopal ministry here to Our Lady, Queen of the Most Holy Rosary, patroness of our diocese and of our cathedral. Mary has been a mother to me as long as I can remember, and I entrust all of you to her tender motherly care, asking her to embrace you, enfold you in her love, and intercede for you with her Son. Praised be Jesus Christ, now and forever. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Bishop, and welcome. We are really pleased to have you here. And we will take some questions from the media now for a few minutes. Tim?
Bishop
And
Thomas,
could you do me a favor, identify yourself and your outlet, your media outlet? Thank
I'm
you.
T.K. Barker. I'm the religion editor for The Blade, which is Toledo's daily newspaper.
Thank you, TK.
First, welcome to Toledo.
Thank you.
I want to ask, with some of the words recently from Pope Francis about wanting a new type of bishop, could you set your humility aside for a moment?
No.
and address what you think the dynamic is that you bring as one of the new Franciscans, if I could say it that way.
Well, first, TK, I would say I cannot set my humility aside, little as it is. And I would say that one of my favorite quotes on humility is from St. John Vianney, who said, "Humility is to the life of virtue as the chain is to the rosary." So, please God, I'll never set that aside. But I would simply say that Pope Francis is asking every bishop to be who he himself is modeling, and that is to model Jesus Christ. And so, there's that very famous phrase of Pope Francis that we've heard a zillion times, the priest should have the smell of the sheep, right? So I'm hoping this bishop will be very smelly. And I know that Pope Francis obviously has set us an example of simplicity. He has set us an example of reaching out to people. We're shocked, aren't we, that Pope Francis calls people on the telephone, like the family of that young man who was horrifically beheaded. So his pastoral outreach is constant. And I would simply hope that I would bring the same love for the flock, which is inspired first by the love of Jesus for his flock.
And as an administrator, I know that you have just arrived. You want to get a feel for the place. Are there any particular areas that you're going to begin giving special attention to?
Well, thank you. Of course, I've just arrived, and I really don't know a whole lot about the Diocese of Toledo. I'll have to listen a lot, I'll have to learn a lot, and I'll have to speak with so many folks who I will work closely with, please God, and trust really in their helping me to begin my ministry here in Toledo. I would say the one thing I want to bring is the proclamation of the gospel. So to be the one who invites others, whether they are priests, deacons, consecrated religious, men and women, all the Catholic lay faithful, to take up what Pope Francis has said is the joy of the gospel, to proclaim that gospel in season and out of season in our everyday lives, and to make Jesus more present here in Toledo.
Is there anything in Philadelphia that you leave unfinished that you regret leaving?
There's an awful lot on my desk, my secretary can tell you.
Other questions?
Thank you. Yes.
I'm Michelle DePato, WTOL.
Thank you, Michelle.
A lot of controversy swirling the ALS Bucket Challenge. Of course, it's a big deal right now on social media. What's your stand on that?
Thank you. I have probably seen at least a zillion on my Facebook page of every person from every walk of life dumping buckets of ice water. But I do appreciate what the distinction is. That is that as Catholics, we can never jump into something by offering money if we're not really sure what that money goes toward. So if I'm correct, at least I've read, that folks at ALS have actually said that they don't that they absolutely can offer the opportunity for donors to determine where their gifts go. And because some, I understand, of ALS uses embryonic stem cells for their research, that's something I think Catholics would want to be aware of, because we don't agree with that. We certainly agree with using adult stem cells for research. So I know, at least on my Facebook page, a number of Catholics are saying, we would like you to donate for, and then under their page they actually have, for example, the Pope John Paul II Research Institute. I think it's in Iowa. And they're recommending that they donate to a place, or that they determine with ALS the donor. Either way, the hope is that people will donate to a very worthy cause for a horrible disease, looking and hoping for a cure. Thank you. Some other questions? Yes, thank you.
Hi, Angie Kessler with the Catholic Chronicle.
Thank you, Angie.
And you mentioned the connection with your artwork between Toledo and you. I also noticed in the materials that your titular see is Bardstown, Kentucky, which
Right.
There's a connection there as well?
Yes. Well, someone told me before I came into the press conference that since I was the titular bishop of Bardstown, I was already your bishop anyway. You may or may not know that, of course, Bardstown was founded as a diocese in 1808, together with Philadelphia and New York and Boston. And when I was named a bishop, as every auxiliary bishop is, I was giving that titular see a title. And I can tell you I've had the great joy, because many auxiliary bishops tell me they have titular envy, because I actually have a place to go. Because Bardstown actually has a proto-cathedral, which in fact is a living parish, St. Joseph's, and Father Hammer and the people of God there have been very kind to me. I've visited there at least 4 times when I go on retreat to the Trappist Monastery of Gethsemani, and they've been a great support to me. So in a way, there's that connection too. So I've already been your bishop in some regard. Thank you. Some other questions, folks? Anyone? Okay, thank you. Sally?
Again, thank you very much, Bishop, and that actually concludes our press conference. And again, we welcome Bishop Daniel E. Thomas.
Thanks, Sally, so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great to be with you.
Good to be with you today. Thank you very much.
questions? Thank you. Perfect.